New tonight on KGW News, a detective who wouldn't give up.
I'd always kept like a newspaper clipping.
How she finally found the driver who allegedly hit and killed a mother of 5 more than 2 years on. Plus,
snow continues to fly in the Cascades. There's a winter storm warning and a weather impact alert right on through Thursday for feet of snow.
Then see how Gresham's new fire chief and his family have been breaking barriers for decades.
Very excited. It's kind of a surreal moment.
And later, it's the one team that tarnished the Ducks season record.
So it was a good wake-up call. And
why the players say they're now ready to turn the tables on Indiana. But first to breaking news in Southwest Portland, where a suspect has just been arrested after a nearly 6-hour standoff with police. This is a live look near the scene just south of downtown. Authorities say this all began around 5 this evening when a man says he found a stranger in his apartment. He ran out and called police. Then the suspect barricaded himself, authorities say, in a bedroom. Police blocked off a wide area closing Southwest Broadway from Hall near PSU down to Sherman. But just before we came on the air, we saw police take someone into custody. No word yet on the person's identity or how soon police could clear the area. All right, now to a KGW weather impact alert as the Cascades continue to get hammered with snow. Here's a live look from mostly frozen over Timberline Sky Camera tonight. So Matt, how much snow has fallen so far and what is still coming?
Oh, a lot more is still on the way, and that's why we've got a weather impact alert for the Cascades through Thursday. It'll end up being in the 2 to 3 foot range. I'm thinking more closer to 3 foot than 2 feet. Make sure you have traction tires or chains and an emergency kit in your car. Back to that Timberline Skycam. You can see the wind is blowing. Yes, the lens is iced up, but there's been 9 inches of new snow since this began earlier today, and we're just getting started. I mentioned this last night. We'll probably get about a foot a day today, tomorrow, and on Thursday for that 3 foot total to pile up. Meanwhile, the passes are all snow covered. This is Government Camp right now. Of course, a lot less traffic this time of the night, but it's snow covered there. You can hardly even see the road at Sandiam Pass, in part because of the lighting, and down at Willamette Pass, snow-covered road as well, and the snow is in the air. Now, when we look at Doppler radar, we've had this band of pretty heavy rain over the Portland area tonight. You can see the yellows and the oranges arcing across the valley. They're now beginning, that band is beginning to head up into the Cascades, so the snowfall rates are going to do nothing but increase during the overnight hours, may get up to about 2 inches an hour. So we're going to see some very hefty totals by morning up in the Cascades. And again, our forecast still calling for about 3 feet of snow. Well, let's just update it. There we go. There you go, about 35 inches between now and Thursday night, David. Back to you.
At those potential totals. Well, we need it, though. Thanks, Matt.
You bet.
You know what? Skiers and boarders are ready for the snow at Timberline today. Mount Hood Resorts, including Meadows, already had a very late start to the season, and they have been waiting for a storm like this.
We were checking it the past couple days, and it looked pretty bleak, and didn't know what to expect. Thought it'd be maybe a little bit later in the season even, but it worked out perfectly for our schedule, so yeah, we were excited.
Now we call that being stoked, right? With several more feet of snow in the forecast over the next couple of days, travel is going to be tricky. So as Matt said, we're going to reiterate this. It's important if you're headed up the mountain or over the passes, have chains or traction tires along with an emergency kit, extra food, water, and warm clothes, just in case. To an update tonight and perhaps a step toward justice for the family of a tigered mother of 5 killed in a hit and run more than 2 years ago, with a suspect finally under arrest. Alma McCarty spoke with a detective determined to solve the crime. Alma?
Yeah, David, it is not uncommon for a hit and run case to go unsolved, but this time investigators fielded just enough information, tips from the community to make an arrest.
I'd always kept like a newspaper clipping.
That clipping affixed to the wall of a tigered police cubicle.
So I keep it at my desk, and it was just a reminder for me to make sure to follow up on anything that comes in.
Detective Casey Mace explains this was the longest open case she had. The hit and run death of Maria Negrete, a mother of 5.
I was really trying to make sure that I do my due diligence and get justice for the family.
Justice after so long without answers or even leads. Negrete died in the hospital 2 days after being hit by a car on Southwest Hall Boulevard, just north of Fawful Street on September 18th, 2023. Her family gathered there days later with this message for the driver.
He could have just stopped if it was an accident. He's just making it worse for himself. We just want justice for Maria.
More than 2 years on, investigators announced an arrest on New Year's Eve of 37-year-old Ashley Wolf. This after 2 breaks in the case.
In October of 2024, we had a tip come in that led us to the suspect vehicle.
Tigard police got a second tip in April 2025, corroborating evidence about who was behind the wheel of the car.
After that, we were able to do some more investigating, and ultimately we were able to forensically tie the vehicle to our victim.
Investigators emphasize how anonymous tips do make a difference.
Ultimately, that's what broke the case to us. If somebody has information, it's very important to let the police know.
The suspected driver, Ashley Wolf, was arraigned in court today and entered a not guilty plea. David?
Thanks, Selma. I appreciate the follow-up. More than 2 years on. Developing this evening, a Gresham gymnastics coach is in jail tonight accused of sexually abusing 2 children. Police arrested 56-year-old Eric Stinson after they say former athletes reported they experienced inappropriate sexual behaviors. Court documents list 2 victims under the age of 14 and allege these incidents happened from 2012 to 2016. Stinson is listed as the director of gymnastics at the Northwest Gymnastics Training Center in Gresham. He now faces 5 charges, including first-degree sex abuse and sodomy. We have reached out to the training center for comment, but so far have not heard back. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, Albany police say 2 officers shot someone this morning while they were responding to a domestic disturbance. When officers arrived at the home on Twins Lane Northwest around 11, they say they encountered someone holding a knife. That's when 2 officers fired their weapons, hitting and wounding that person. No word on their condition. The 2 officers have been placed on administrative leave. The last of Oregon National Guard troops that President Trump tried to deploy to Portland have now been ordered to demobilize. The official order comes nearly a week after President Trump announced he'd abandoned efforts to deploy the Guard in Portland, Los Angeles, and Chicago. In September, the Pentagon mobilized 200 Guard members from Oregon and 200 from California with a mission to protect federal buildings in Portland following protests at the ICE facility on the waterfront. But they never hit the streets and instead remained in training while the case played out in court. A federal judge eventually permanently barred the president from deploying troops in Portland. And we are learning more about what authorities say happened the night a 13-year-old was shot and killed in his sleep. Police say Liam Spanley Bailey was hit by a stray bullet in a Gresham apartment last spring. At a bail hearing for 2 of the 3 suspects, officers testified that 5 people were meeting at the apartment complex to trade guns. Police say 2 in the group tried to take the guns. That led to a shootout with one of the bullets going through the wall and hitting the victim.
Certainly this is a chaotic situation where you have individuals that engaged in a lot of dangerous behavior, and then unfortunately a young member of our community paid the price with his life.
A decision on bail here has been pushed until next week. New at 11, the city of Gresham has a new fire chief, the first black fire chief in the department's history. Catherine Cook was at tonight's swearing in and takes a look at the new chief's rise to the top.
For the city of Gresham.
For the city of Gresham.
To the best of my abilities.
To the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jeff Hairston is Gresham's first black fire chief. Tuesday's swearing-in ceremony, surrounded by his family and community leaders from all over the region, was something Hairston never imagined 19 years ago when he became Gresham's first black firefighter.
It's a privilege, honor. You don't want to wait till 2006 for it to happen, but I take it very seriously.
Hours before the ceremony, Hairston walked us through his office and back in time to some other firsts. His grandfather, Sam, the first black player on the Chicago White Sox. His father, John, the first black catcher on the Chicago Cubs. Hairston himself played ball for the Yankees and Pirates in the 90s. That was before he became a teacher and before he became a firefighter. His father is proud of him.
You know, it really didn't surprise me because he was a hard worker. He's done things all his life, and he always had to not struggle, but work for it. See, it's the will of a person. It's not so much the skill or the speed or whatever. It's the will of a person.
Like Hairston's will to keep trying after a short stint with the Portland Fire Bureau. They let him go during academy. Hairston's not ashamed of that. He's proud of how he tried again and succeeded with Gresham. And he's proud of the example he's setting now.
The way that you conduct yourself, the way that you face adversity or even success determines on how people follow you and they model it.
It takes a lot to step forward. It's a difficult role to be in, to go from being one of the guys to being the leader of the guys and gals.
Assistant Chief Mike Traeger has been with Gresham for 37 years and watched Hairston rise through the ranks.
He has really excelled at being able to show that he has a vision and what he'd like to do.
Hairston is ready for all of it.
So one thing about me is you won't get a quitter. You'll find a guy that can figure a way.
Chief Hairston says his first focus out of the gate is to improve public outreach, to make sure firefighters get into more schools, visit apartment complexes, make sure places are as safe as they can be. He says the community and the people who live in it are his priorities. In Gresham, Catherine Cook, KGW News.